Check, 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 check.
Check.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, is this a perfect movie? I'm Michael.
Kalen.
And today we are reviewing two movies in our continuing Halloween series where we're doing horror films.
Spooky.
We're in the science fiction subgenre this week, doing Event Horizon and Alien, the original Alien by Ridley Scott. I think we're going to start off talking about Event Horizon. So, Kalen, Event Horizon, how do you feel about it? What's your history?
First watched this movie years back when you recommended this to me, because you're like, dude, I watched this movie and it kind of fucked me up. I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to take a gander. And it was effective for the most part. The visuals really stuck with me. That infamous scene we'll talk about later. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's good.
Yeah, I watched Event Horizon, probably mostly due to my mental state at the time. Really messed me up. The concepts of, well, Event Horizon is a movie about a spaceship that opens a portal to hell, basically. And yeah, the first time I watched it, I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, some weird stuff.
It gets weird. It gets really dark. It gets really grim. And I imagine, and now this was not a super successful movie when it first came out. It wasn't like
no, not at all.
A theatrical success, but it's kind of a cult classic now. And what I imagine happened to a lot of people is they saw it a little too young. Because yes. I imagine a lot of people, well, if you watch this when you're like, I don't know, 13,
yeah,
this might be the most horrifying thing ever.
Well, I know this kind of like took off when it released on home media. And so I could just imagine some kid sneaking into their mom or dad's room and finding this tape and like, I'm going to put this on because it's got that hard R rating, and watching it and just being fucked up for the rest of their life, basically.
All right. So a little background on this movie. It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who's mostly known now for doing the Resident Evil series. Yep. Not great movies.
No, he did, and then he did AVP, Alien vs. Predator, and he did Death Race. A bunch of like straight to sci-fi channel stuff.
I mean, it's not literally straight to Sci-Fi Channel, but it
has that feel.
It's like schlocky, not super serious. I mean, he's done like 4 Resident Evil sequels, and it's all to just cast his wife, Mila Jovovich, in a lead role. Keep getting her checks.
Yeah, he pulled a Rob Zombie.
Yeah, basically. And I one thing I wanted to say is I think this movie might have saved superhero movies, because Paul W.S. Anderson was offered to do X-Men after directing Mortal Kombat, which was the movie that preceded this, and was what led to him to be able to just, kind of make his own passion project, because Mortal Kombat was a pretty big success. And they offered him to do what ended up being X-Men 2000.
Yeah.
And if Paul W.S. Anderson made the original X-Men,
it would have been some weird shit.
It would have been awful. Nobody would have liked it, and I bet superhero movies, it'd be like one of those splinter points in history where it's like superhero genre is like dominating everything now. Marvel's the biggest thing ever.
Right.
DC superhero movies are also pretty big.
Yeah, because that first X-Men really laid the groundwork.
That precedes the first Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. I mean, maybe Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Did Blade come out before or after X-Men?
Blade is early 90s. Blade precedes The Matrix.
Okay.
Not early 90s, but like I think it's like 97, 98.
Okay, that sounds right.
And it like just precedes The Matrix. So, I mean, maybe it wouldn't have, but I'm so happy that he didn't direct the X-Men. Because the X-Men we got was good, and the X-Men that he would have made would have been bad.
Yes. So he doesn't have the greatest track record, but this one, it's pretty. he did something special with this.
It didn't get reviewed well. Like Rotten Tomatoes has it on like 30-some%. Like it's not well regarded critically at the time. I think it's something that's kind of grown on people, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And just going forward, this is going to be full spoiler reviews for both of these movies. So just an FYI.
Yes.
So let's get into the performance test.
It was the performance of a lifetime.
The performance test is where we talk about our favorite performances, actors, characters, and moments. This movie is, I'd say, a star turn. Well, so Paul W.S. Anderson has said he wanted to cast Sam Neill, who most of us know as the main character in Jurassic Park.
Dr. Grant.
And he was like, we're kind of fresh off Jurassic Park. This is 4 years later. Or 6 years later. Anyways, we know him from Jurassic Park. We know him from some other things. And he wanted to, like, you know, like, he seems like a friendly, family-friendly guy now. And he wanted to sort of, like, twist that in persona in his performance here. And I think,
come to find out in this movie, he's actually British.
yeah.
So I never knew that because he did his American accent very well in Jurassic Park films. So,
There's just in the acting field, lots of secret British.
yeah. I think Hugh Jackman is one.
I think Hugh Jackman's Australian or, like, New Zealand.
The guy who plays Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead is also British.
Just almost every actor, you're like, what a good actor. They're not Americans. But Sam Neill is in this, and he is playing Weir, who is he's like, this is a common theme between these two movies. He's the stranger on the ship. He's the person that got put on the ship that's not part of the regular crew. And you wonder if he's up to something.
Yes.
And turns out he is.
He's kind of straightforward about what's going on, though. Or not at first, but over time, he's more open to it.
It's not entirely clear whether he's like... So basically, he's the creator of the Event Horizon. Let's lay out the plot. The Event Horizon. The ship, the Lewis and Clark, cast by Lawrence Fishburne and the rest of our cast. They are on a rescue mission to go because they've caught a transmission from the Event Horizon, which is this experimental ship that's experimenting a new version of transportation, which Sam Neill very expertly describes in the beginning of this movie, where he describes how it folds space and it punches a hole into, like, what he does is he folds like a poster up and then punches a pencil through both sides. And that's how the Event Horizon's supposed to work. It's supposed to punch a hole through it to wherever their destination is, so they can just exit out the wormhole, and boom, they're doing interstellar travel. It's trying to be the next step in technology, and Sam Neill created this ship. First run didn't go well, and we don't know why until we get there. Which is it's hanging in low orbit over Neptune, and when our crew arrives, it's a ghost town. Nobody's alive. And one thing, it's just very clear that Sam Neill feels protective of his creation.
Yes.
And that very much comes through. And by the end of this movie, Sam Neill is fully transformed into, like, he's been warped by the ship. This is basically a haunted house movie in space.
It's like the complete opposite of Alien, and we'll get into this more, but the ship is essentially the monster.
Yeah. It's so when I guess the first time this warp drive is sent through, they punched a hole through into a dimension that they shouldn't have visited. It's like a hell dimension. It's a terrible things happen to the first crew, which we later find in some ship logs.
And let's just stop and just appreciate that plot. Like, that's a really interesting and cool concept. It's not something that's really been done before as far as, like, conventional horror, especially in the sci-fi genre, because usually it's like, well, with Alien, and this movie takes direct inspiration from Alien. But just the whole aspect of, like, cosmic horror. And I've talked about this before, but just the influence of, like, H.P. Lovecraft, or like those old existential horror novels and stuff that really draws in on the human mind, and, like, It's a really interesting subject, and I wish more movies would do that nowadays.
Because there's no monster. It's just the ship. The ship is sort of haunting them. They're being haunted by the various crew members are being haunted about various things about their past.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne is haunted by the man that he let in a previous ship, that a man that he left behind to let die in like a fiery explosion as the rest of his crew escaped.
Right. Sam Neill's being haunted by the ghost of his ex-wife who committed suicide, I believe. Yeah, it's really interesting, and that's, I mean, the plot alone is what kind of sucks you into the movie.
This also, I just want to say, while we're saying it's an interesting premise and kind of a unique premise, it is also just the premise of Doom. Doom is where scientists, Doom the video game, and maybe the movie, I don't know what the Doom movie's like, but the premise is scientists open a hole to hell. And demons escape. Except, well, what I wrote down is this is just the premise of Doom, but more sad and less kick-ass.
Yeah. There's nobody wielding double-barrel shotguns and shit.
No. Everybody's basically at the mercy of the ship, and
yes,
as Sam Neill's at the end, she won't let you go, is
right.
what he says. So Sam Neill's a standout. He gets to just chew the scenery by the end as he's really like taken over by the ship and sort of gives himself to the ship and becomes sort of an arm of the ship that's trying to, he's also trying to keep the crew aboard. He sort of bends to its mercy. We have
Lawrence Fishburne.
Morpheus.
This was just his time back then. He was in everything.
I think he's really good with like being, he's always kind of had that, like, he's got that commanding officer presence.
He's very stoic.
I would follow Lawrence Fishburne if he was leading me.
Yes.
And
maybe.
Well, no, I think he's really great in this movie, and like the way he slowly unravels. Like, he's kind of the last person to unravel. Everybody else is unraveling in this, and he's trying to keep it together for the mission and just make the best decisions that he can.
He has the single most rational line in all of like horror, where he's just like, "We're leaving."
Miller?
We're leaving.
Well, what happens is they're trying to there's like a last video log that they need to like clean up because they can't view the data or whatever, and their computer scientist is working on it for half the movie, and then eventually she's like, I've got it figured out, let's watch this. And it's just this disgusting series of bloody images, people screaming, there's a man speaking Latin holding his eyes in both hands.
I think it's alluded to that they were fornicating and mutilating each other.
They hired porn stars to shoot some of these shots because they had to be fully nude and doing some lewd stuff.
Disgusting. And they cut a lot out of that scene, from what
yes.
I've heard.
And after watching this ship log, Lawrence Fishburne just shuts off the panel, is like, we're leaving.
And he had just this look of just complete disgust on his face while he was watching it.
He was just like, no. Nope.
Yeah, that scene has become pretty infamous. I think that's what this scene alone kind of draws people to this movie, because it's a talking point and people are like, oh man, I got to see that.
They had to cut a bunch of the stuff to make it, pass for rating. It's funny because Paul W.S. Anderson has talked about, like, so people are seeing the dailies, like, the suits were seeing the dailies, which is the shots that go back after daily filming, but they weren't checking on the second unit stuff, which he was also filming on the weekends.
Right.
And the second unit stuff is what did this like hell scene. So the first time they screened it was the first time the suits saw a bunch of this shit, and they were like, oh no, this is not the movie we thought we were greenlighting.
Yeah.
This is much grosser and disgusting. But anyways, Lawrence Fishburne, great. How do we feel about Coop? Richard T. Jones is the actor. He's kind of our comedic side guy.
Comic relief, but he's in every single movie like this. You have that one guy who's always fucking around.
He feels like he got rammed in here from like a Michael Bay movie. He
Yes.
feels like a Michael Bay side character. He feels like he would belong in the movie Armageddon and not necessarily this movie. But our favorite YouTube channel, Red Letter Media, also reviewed this. They hate Cooper. I found Cooper, it's fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with how corny and ridiculous he gets.
Right.
I mean, there's more people.
There's a ton of different.
There's a lot of that guys.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out to the one scene when, what's his name, Justin locks himself in the airlock and then wakes up. That's so terrifying.
Yes.
Like, I've always been afraid of, there's two things I'm scared of. It's space and the deep ocean. And both of them is because if you cannot survive the elements once you're out of your ship. And basically, our guy is being, he's kind of under the influence of the ship. He seems like he's, he's not really, he's kind of catatonic. He's not really reacting. And then he sets himself to launch himself out the airlock. And then he wakes up. And he's like, oh my God, let me out. Y'all need to fix this for me. But they can't. He's already, like, locked in the sequence. So then he gets launched out the window. Lawrence Fishburne's trying to rescue him. He's in a spacesuit outside the ship. But, like, he just starts spitting up blood. And he's just, it's gruesome. Yeah. It's grisly.
Yeah.
And it's effective.
The imagery is what really works here. We could talk more about this in the It's an Art Bro section. But, yeah. Just the imagery and the character relations and stuff is just so effective.
And I think the one thing this one of the many things this is kind of lifted from Alien is that it really feels like people at their jobs trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Like most of the rest of the cast, I mean, everybody's got a job and a purpose, and they're all just trying to fix whatever they need to fix. Like the Lewis and Clark ends up having mechanical issues, so they're trying to fix it so they can escape.
Right. There's
a ticking clock because the Event Horizon is running out of oxygen and doesn't have oxygen. It's not scrubbing the atmosphere anymore. And I don't know. Everybody in it is pretty good, but I don't think we need to go much deeper unless you have anybody else to shout out.
I'm good. I think we covered our three.
Okay. Shall we move on to It's an Art Bro?
Yes.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
It's an Art Bro is where we talk about the specifics of the filmmaking process. We're talking sets, effects, lighting, framing, soundtrack, etc.
So this is the section that will really correlate between the two films. Just the atmosphere alone. It's just so... It's very claustrophobic. And that's the same with Alien too. And I'll go into this more when we cover Alien, but
I think the Lewis and Clark shares a lot of design philosophy with Alien. Like the original ship that people fly in on is very like kind of grimy and grubby.
It's like retro futuristic almost.
Yeah, retro future, and it just feels like a transportation ship. It doesn't feel like we're in this pristine vision of the future. Right. It's like this is just a big bus that goes to space.
Yeah. And
then we end up on the Event Horizon. The Event Horizon, Paul W.S. Anderson has said, was modeled after the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Just a ton of different intricate architectural designs and stuff, and
it's real gothic.
Yeah, gothic feel to it.
For both these movies, Alien and Event Horizon, actors have said the set helped them act.
Yes.
Like the Event Horizon, the set for that, actors would go up and tell Paul Anderson, I don't like being here. This place makes me feel gross.
Right.
Similar thing happened on Alien.
And that's something to say about practical sets and practical effects. It's very effective in creating fantasy worlds, and there's so much work that goes into it. I just can't imagine how much work people put into it, but it's so refreshing to see practical sets where your actors can really get immersed in the roles that they're playing.
Kind of a sidebar, but this does relate to this. It's not just for the audience, it's for the actors. The actors get to interact with things and feel the mood of the setting where they're going to be. And I just remember reading this little excerpt of a Christian Bale interview about his time on the Thor Love and Thunder set. And the quote was it was all very confusing. It was am I in this blue room or am I in this blue room? Because there's not a lot of sets. It's mostly just CGI being plastered in on the background.
I think the actors from the Star Wars prequels said the same type of thing, where it's just every set they were on, it was just like even a chair they were sitting on was just a green stool, or like, oh, it was just. I could imagine that being incredibly frustrating to work with.
Yeah, it requires more work from the actor's perspective just to like envision what they're interacting with, and they can't necessarily. And a lot of that time that stuff isn't set in stone when you're waiting to do special effects after the fact. A lot of those decisions are getting made later,
right,
and finalized much later. So it is a cool set, especially the event horizon, and I think they do a lot of work with it. One thing I noticed is there's a scene where I forget what they have to turn on, but something goes wrong, and Sam Neill's character crawls through this tunnel, and it all looks like motherboards, and they're all glowing green. Mm-hmm. And the lights, I think, flutter in and out because eventually he starts being haunted by his wife in that tunnel.
Right.
But I just thought that was a really cool set and a really cool visual. And again, one of those other things where it's like they built a tunnel full of green things that Sam Neill had to go crawl through, instead of like having a blue tunnel where they're like, imagine there's going to be lots of motherboards here. And also I'm sure he was acting across from the actress that played his wife, instead of being like, okay, now imagine there's going to be some sort of like ghostly presence.
Right.
Okay.
And then they just a stick with a globe on top of it. They just shove in his face, and he's like, what?
Now act scared. I don't know. Do we have anything else to say about the art?
I think we've covered it. I just love this setting of space for horror. You're just so isolated. There's nothing. It's like you said, it's like being on the ocean. It's just the vastness of everything. Just really like brings you in, and it makes you feel so claustrophobic. I just love that setting for horror. And
it fixes the problem of most actual haunted house movies where it's like, why don't you just fucking run outside?
Fucking break a window and get the fuck out of there. Like,
right. Because you will not survive out there.
No.
Although Coop does get launched, like, he's way out. The ship is in Neptune's atmosphere, and somehow he gets launched way the fuck out to space, and then he somehow air launches himself all the way back to the ship that's in Neptune's atmosphere just to hit the window and get blasted again and die.
he got fucked up.
If you thought gravity was stretching it with the like physics of survival in space, this movie shifts a little more.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Let's move on to Let the Hate Flow Through You.
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
And that's the one part I'm going to say is, why the hell did we have Cooper get shot out to space just to come back, just to get blown the fuck up once again?
Yeah. I really don't understand the hate that this movie really got. Like, I don't think it's warranted. I think it's an impressive film. Like, especially visually. I think it's very impressive for the time. I don't know, maybe people weren't in the mood to see that kind of thing. And I mean, especially think about the films that were coming out during that time anyways, where it's like, well, this is late 90s. I'm thinking Jurassic Park and just these huge epics. I don't know. I don't really see the hate for this. I think it's effective in what it does, and I'm glad that it got the recognition that it's getting now.
I wonder if it's just one of those expectation things. Like, you walk in and you're like Mr. Critic Review, and you're like, this is the new sci-fi movie by the guy that did Mortal Kombat. Oh, great.
Yeah.
And then you walk in and it is like, I don't know, it's pretty off the wall concept that, like, I don't know. I don't understand the hate. I think it's certainly not flawless, and there's certainly elements that I think could be improved.
I think some of the performances are pretty weak.
Like who?
Some of the like just the extras, or like I don't know. It didn't have that feel. Okay, so I'll put an Alien with this. Like Alien, all the side characters are fantastic. I'll get into this more, but that's what I've noticed the most, especially because I watched Alien before this. So
it does feel. I think you can feel it a little bit, and I read about it, so it makes sense. Paul W.S. Anderson, so the post-production of this movie was rushed. Originally, Titanic was supposed to release in the summer window, and then that got delayed and ended up being the biggest movie ever. So that was just fine eventually. But the production company was like, well, we don't have anything in the summer. Let's put Event Horizon. So instead of normally you would have, I forget what they said. I think it was like 6 to 8 months to do post-production. And he did it all in like a 2 to 4 month timeline.
Okay.
So the original edit that a lot of people were shown early was like very rough. And then the studio was like, cut it down, chop, 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 chop. So I think some of that does feel like you can kind of sense that like there might have been more there that you don't really get to see, because it does seem to be a little bit
Rushed.
Yeah, it's a little rushed, and it just seems like a little light on the scares, or it doesn't want to like lean into them. Like there's that scene where is it Justin that's all splayed out? One of the characters gets all like splayed out and like hooked and like is basically like gutted, and his skin is all splayed out and hooked, and he's displayed in like a what's it called? Or like a crucifix pose.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably more to that scene that ended up being cut just because they were like, this is too gory or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, instead of letting that like image like linger, it kind of briefly shows it, and then it's like, next scene.
I'm surprised we never got a director's cut of this.
So part of that is the extra footage doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
I think that it was like, I forget the full story, but like the extra footage disappeared, and there's like one guy that has a rough cut on a VHS copy.
Oh, man.
Possibly.
Thank God we live in an age now where these filmmakers can, I mean, Zack Snyder, like, say what you want about the Justice League and that shit. At least he got to fulfill his vision and release the full cut of his Justice League.
Right.
That sucks, man.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, there's not a lot for me to hate on it. I just think it's a movie that has a great premise, and a lot of it rides on the premise because some of the execution here and there can be a little shaky.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like the cast. I like Lawrence Fishburne especially, and Sam Neill.
I love that this movie inspired video games. Like Doom and, what's the other one? Dead Space. Well, maybe that Dead Space is more of like an Alien inspiration, but
Dead Space is definitely like Event Horizon meets Alien.
yeah,
because
like
that's Dead Space is another like opens a portal.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is. Doom precedes this.
Really?
The original Doom.
I thought Doom was 98, 99.
That's the Doom movie, I think, but the original Doom video game's on like NES.
Oh shit. Okay.
But it's worth a watch. And we are not going to do Is This a Perfect Movie until the end for both of these.
Yes.
But I like it a lot, and if you're somebody that likes sci-fi, I think you'll like it.
Yes.
So shall we move on to Alien?
Alien.
The OG Alien.
So I'll kick it off with Alien. I love Alien. This is one of my favorite movies, especially in the horror genre. In the sci-fi genre too. I first watched this maybe had to be like over a decade ago. And I loved it. This is one of those movies I wasn't allowed to watch, so when I finally got to watch it, I was like, yes, this is the shit. I had actually seen the AVP movies before this. So the xenomorph in this film was pretty new to me, as far as like what it is and what it can do and shit. And I just there's so much to say about this movie. It lays the groundwork for so many movies to come, especially in this genre. Yeah. What do you think?
So I hadn't seen the original Alien until earlier this week. I have seen some of the Alien sequels. I've seen Alien vs. Predator and probably AVP 2 just because those things constantly played on TV. Me and you watched Alien Covenant, which is
dog shit.
Also directed by Ridley Scott, though.
He's old and senile now.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Alien Covenant's dog shit, but it wasn't. Doesn't matter. It was not. It's just interesting watching this for being the place that it spawned, because it's so much of a slow burn.
Yes.
And what I really loved and what really struck me when I first started watching it is that we spent, and I think a lot of people would find this to be the most boring part and things that they don't like about the movie is like we spend like what, like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes not even seeing anyone. It's just silent shots showing the ship.
Yep. And then the next like hour is just them, like the crewmates, and they're fantastic.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I like this movie a lot. One thing I thought, considering our previous conversations, was we were pretty mean about the Predator effects, and the alien effects in this are just about as bad. I think that it's shot a little smarter just because they get to be in the darkness.
Yeah.
But it is also very clearly a man in a suit.
But that's how you shoot your rubber suit monster. Like,
Yeah. Probably in the
it's
dark.
about as good as it's gonna get. Honestly.
Yeah. And it is impressive, just for the time, 1979, some of the sets that they made and the different design decisions. It's a technically very flawless movie, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And shall we go on to the performance test?
Yes.
It was the performance of a lifetime!
So, Sigourney Weaver, obviously, she's great. She kind of flips the whole Scream Queen deal, where it's like, I'm not going to be screaming at this motherfucker the whole time. I'm going to be kicking ass or trying to survive. And that's what she does. She's a really cool character. And
Girls get it done.
she gets it done, and she kind of writes the book on how to get it done. She's very smart. She is respected by most of her team. She's great in this. This is not her breakout role, is it?
I think it is, as far as like theatrical releases. I was just watching the making of documentary, and she seemed like she was like sort of the greenest of the cast.
She hasn't been tainted by Hollywood yet.
No, yeah, like she has a couple credits previous to this, but this is definitely kind of her breakout role. Yeah, she's really great. The thing that this movie really nails, and Sigourney Weaver is a big part of it, but it's kind of everyone does, is it does feel just like literally a crew, not like Starship Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise. Like, you know, it's not. These are truckers in space,
Right. They're not a team of elite soldiers like in Predator, or they're not,
or in Aliens.
or in Aliens. They're not. They're nobodies. They're just trying to get their next paycheck. And I think that's what is so great about these characters, is they feel so real. Most of the time they're just bitching about when they're gonna, or what extra cut are they gonna get on their pay. And like, that's really interesting, and it's very grounded, even though this is a sci-fi film.
Event Horizon and this both have the crew wakes up and banters a bit after being in their deep sleep for their space trek. But yeah, Ripley, aka Sigourney Weaver, obviously carries the movie. She gets to do a lot towards the end. She is the bad bitch that kills the alien.
Yeah.
But she's believable, and she's also like, you can see the wheels turn as like things really unfold. And there's another character here that is our saboteur, and she's kind of onto him, but she doesn't really know what to make of it for a lot of it. And I think he's kind of our other standout performance, which is Ian Holm, Bilbo Baggins, as Ash.
Bilbo Baggins.
Shall we smoke some weed?
He still looks old as fuck in this.
This is like 40 years before that. It's so funny. I guess Ian Holmes was mostly like a stage actor before this.
Yeah.
But he's like from the very start. And this is one of the things that hadn't been spoiled to me, is I forgot. So again, full spoilers for Alien going forward. Ash is an android.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the same objectives as the rest of the crew.
There's a little android racism in this universe.
Well, it's funny because what is it, Weyland Yutani, the big corpo behind all these alien movies.
Yeah.
This is like the genesis of that. It really becomes a bigger and bigger thing as we move on into the Alien sequels. But like in this, it's not something you really get discussed until the twist.
Right.
We're not like, there's not the like corporate paranoia.
Right.
Until the moment.
Right. They just think he's a member of the crew. He's just some guy.
And from the very start, I was like, something's up with this guy. I don't know what his deal is, but I don't like him.
He takes like a particular interest in the alien that they discover.
Well, that's because he's the chief science officer, but also because like he is the person I believe that receives the signal.
Yes.
Like they're just on a cargo run.
Right.
They're just delivering stuff. And then they receive a signal that's like a distress signal or something, and then they're like, well, our handbook at penalty of whatever says that we have to stop. Like, we have to check. We have to be the first aid for this.
Right. Space Horror 101, do not respond to the SOS.
No. If it's an emergency, it's probably bad.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Just leave it be. They'll be all right.
And then we find our crashed alien ship, and our man finds an egg sack. Well, maybe let's go into this into It's an Art Bro. I'm going to leave that there. But Ash is a very well acted character. And then furthermore, his final speech, once he's been revealed as an android, is fucking great.
Yeah.
And what is his last line? Like, I pity you or
Yes.
something? So it doesn't say I pity you,
It's something along the lines.
but he's basically like, well, sorry, because this alien's going to kill you now. Good luck.
Last word. I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Yeah, and I think that's what I enjoyed so much about Alien Covenant. I think was Michael Fassbender. He was the android in that film, and he's kind of just like, I'm just a robot. I just want to seek knowledge.
Well, he's two androids. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's the.
He teaches himself how to play the flute, which is gay.
They didn't have penises though, so it was okay.
Yeah, no, it was just a little phallic. But no, Michael Fassbender's the best character in that movie and in Prometheus.
Yes.
And he's an android character. It's Ian Holmes as the android character.
So after this, it was kind of the trope of we have to have an android in every film.
Yeah.
Basically.
Anybody else on the crew we want to call out?
Tom Skerritt was. I mean, he's another big name.
Dallas, our captain.
Yeah, he's the leader of the group. I don't know if that's self-proclaimed or not, but he's the captain of the ship. So he handles shit. He handles his business. Doesn't end well for him, but
The scene where he is in the crawl space, another great crawl space scene.
yes,
And the lights go in and out.
yes,
And doesn't he have like a torch or something with him?
he has his flamethrower, right? Yeah. So that's another trope of these space horror 101. Bring a flamethrower.
Bring a flamethrower so it can illuminate your shot in very cool ways.
Yes.
Like that's a great scene.
You know what other movie did a flamethrower? The Thing.
It's true. Apparently in space, only fire can kill you.
Well, they weren't in space in The Thing.
I know, but it's an alien.
Kill it with fire. That's basically what you do.
I did really like and was sad when he died. Brett, Harry Dean Stanton, are one of our two, like, what do you call him?
He was the guy with the cat, right? Or
Did he own the cat? I don't know.
I don't know if he owned the cat, but he was looking for the cat, and that's when the first kill from the
He's
alien.
one of the two, like, engineers below decks crew.
Yeah.
The two guys that are complaining about their pay cut at
Him
the
and the
start
black
of the
guy,
movie.
they were great.
They're a lot of fun. I loved when they're like, yeah, Brett, all he does is say, he says, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, isn't that right? He's like, yeah.
These characters were just so believable. I don't know. They're like their dialogue and their banter back and forth. It was just so. It wasn't put on at all. It was just there was a lot of chemistry between these castmates.
And in the documentary they mentioned, so this is like the 20th Century Fox like England branch that produced this movie. So all these actors and a lot of the behind the scenes people are people in England, or you know, they had to travel to England to be there. So the 8 of them ended up hanging out a lot, you know, outside of filming, just because it's kind of like, you know, we're on our vacation in England or whatever. So they did kind of build that close knit, like we're a crew thing, just naturally, just by filming together.
This is a total different genre, but you know what else? What other? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they did that a lot, where they used to go on vacations together and stuff as castmates. They used to do things and just hang out, and it really translated well to the show, where it's like they have real chemistry between each other. And it's like they know each other, you know, right. And so that translated very well. It's the same with this. So,
I mean, everyone's great. You got John Hurt as Kane. He's a real that guy. Look him up, John Hurt. You're gonna be like, I've seen that guy somewhere. He's in a movie I've seen. Now he's in. We got 212 credits. Oh Jesus my God. Christ. He's in Snowpiercer.
Really?
Yeah. Now I remember that.
Oh, I need to watch that again. We should definitely do an episode on Snowpiercer.
We need to add Snowpiercer to the list. I do think Yaphet Kotto as Parker, he's one of the standouts. He's one of our last 3. Again, we don't do the kill the black guy trope.
No.
I think both of these, this and Event Horizon, black guy is the 3rd guy left.
Well, Lawrence Fishburne is technically the lead.
Okay, that's true. So. That's true. I forgot about Lawrence Fishburne.
But yeah, they don't do that trope, which is nice.
No. But he's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of like, man, what the fuck is this energy? Like, not being as like cheesy and over the top as Coop, but he's like, let's get this shit done.
He's not like, motherfucker, what is this shit?
No.
Like,
no, he plays it much cooler, but he's still got that same energy of like, shh, man, what have we done to ourselves?
Because it's facts, man. I know if that was me, I'd be like, yo, let's get the fuck out of here.
Well, no, he's like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Right. He's like, just make sure I get paid. Like that.
Right. As long as the check clear.
Man.
And they found some 6'10" dude named Balahi Badejo to play the alien, which is very necessary. I think originally they had a smaller actor, and they're like, no. We need like the biggest guy we can find.
Which is funny because I think the aliens after this, that preceded this, were much smaller and more agile. I mean that's due to the times for sure, but I know the aliens and aliens were like, well, one, they came in massive numbers, and then 2, it was like they were more animalistic.
Yeah, they seem more like they're on their all fours a lot more, and they kind of run around like a cheetah or something instead of this one, which is a little more like slasher movie monster type of deal.
But it makes sense because the alien procreated with the humans, so it would have human traits,
I guess.
You know, and I think that's the whole deal. There was some alien AVP where an alien did it with a dog or something, and then it created a dog.
Isn't that Prometheus?
Is that Prometheus? No, because Prometheus didn't have the xenomorph
until the very, very end.
Yes, that was like the end credits. Where
maybe that's in Covenant, because in Covenant they're doing all the Michael Fassbender on the planet is doing all the special.
Oh, and that weird albino one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a bunch of different types of the xenomorph or whatever.
But yeah, cast is great. They all feel like believable space truckers. Very grounded, very great. Shall we move along to It's an Art Bro?
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
It's an Art Bro is where we discuss the specifics of the filmmaking process.
Again with the atmosphere. Oh my God.
So the crew talking about the set, they're like, we could wander around this set and we're lost. Like you get dumped off somewhere and you're still on the set.
Yeah.
And I think that really adds to the atmosphere and really adds to just letting people feel claustrophobic.
Yes.
Because they could literally run around the set, end up where they need to be for the shot, and they can shoot it handheld, and they can just, like really act it out.
It's just, I don't think maybe Star Wars is the closest example to this, but like it just feels so real. There's such a realness to this set or these sets that they've created where it's like this is a real thing. Like,
I think this is definitely influenced by the like used technology look of Star Wars, because literally part of the reason this got greenlit is Star Wars became the biggest thing ever, and then 20th Century Fox was like, what kind of scripts do we have around in space?
let's do a horror space, horror sci-fi. That's cool.
So let's do Alien. We got H.R. Giger, whichever way you say it, as our production designer on both the alien ship, the space jockey, the like pilot we see as they visit the ship, and on the alien design itself.
He did the face hugger too, I believe.
In the face hugger, yes. And it is, and the eggs. It's real gross.
It's real gross, yeah.
H.R. Geiger's a weird guy. I kind of love him. Watching this documentary, he's just like one of those like dudes that live in dim lighting and wear all black and just kind of like haunt wherever they live. And everybody's like, he's a weirdo, but he's like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like he seems like a sweet guy. He's just got weird interests.
He's a genius. I mean, the designs he creates are so iconic at this point.
Like he literally starts discussing his own like creation. I think he's talking about like the face hugger and how the face hugger is like a snake that unfurls down into your body like a worm. And yes, he does that as he's talking about it. He's like, now just imagine a worm under your skin. And he's like, ugh.
And like the mouth of the face hugger looks like a vagina. Like it's some grotesque stuff.
There's some very clear, and I'm sure we'll handle this tactfully, it's got rapey vibes. It is a rapey, like the subtext is kind of rapey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally about an alien that attaches itself to you, impregnates you, and then makes you, forces a birth on you.
And there's something like the mannerisms of the xenomorph is very sexual, where it's like it'll kind of like not caress you, but it
I mean, again, it kills you by penetrating you.
yeah, it's very bizarre, but it's effective.
And everybody that talks about H.R. Geiger designs is like, there's something unsettling and like the spine tingling, like deeply in our human like core being, where we're like, I don't like that.
It's like it's something that looks familiar, but you can't wrap your head around what it is, kind of thing.
Like he talks about making the face hugger, which is what attaches itself to I forget what character's face, who they bring in, who shouldn't be brought in. Ian Holmes, our android, who entire directive is to bring this alien back.
Yes.
Lets our people back in when Sigourney Weaver does not want them to be let back in through the airlock. He lets them right in. But the design of the face hugger, he was like, I wanted to make like something about like really long human hand. I find gross. So like the face hugger is kind of like a giant hand that attaches itself to his face and then shoves this thing down their throat.
And it's kind of arachnid too, where it's like people who have arachnophobia are probably like, oh, give me the heebie-jeebies kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also with the xenomorph, there's a term for this, but the xenomorph almost looks not robotic, but it kind of, what's the term for this? It's like what's that video game that just came out? It's called Scorn. Where the ship is made out of flesh.
Right.
I forget what term this is, but it's got that feel to it where it's like this looks like manufactured, but at the same time it's
not synthetic, it's organic. Like
it's an organic technology almost. I don't know. It's real weird looking.
And Geiger used like real bones that he said freaking stank to like lay into the alien spaceship set, and
he used
also
real bone
into like it was like cow bones. He like went to butchers and laid bones in for the especially I think the space jockey.
Wow.
And 20th Century Fox didn't want to greenlight this whole set because they're like, what, we're spending like $500,000 on the set and you're going to visit it once? But it's funny because they talked him into it because they were like, this is what's going to separate us from being a B movie. They're going to see this massive set with, I mean, it's one of the most indelible images, and they really recreate it again in Alien Covenant, and it's like one of those things we keep returning back to is when
Prometheus,
and when we find these eggs and when we find these big, the big like ship It's which
really-
also the ship looks just like the droid mothership in Star Wars Episode 1: A
does.
Phantom Menace.
It does.
Much worse movie. But just to be able to have this big set for all the actors to walk through and it sets the atmosphere. And this almost was a Roger Corman movie, which is like zero budget B movies. And thank God somebody 20th Century Fox snatched it up and let it be something greater.
Just think about the tripwire that would make. Like, where it's like all these movies that came after Alien. If this was directed by anybody else, none of these films would have ever existed. It's so interesting to think about stuff that way.
Yeah, it's another one of those sliding doors moments in history where if this didn't exist, many other things might look different after.
Yeah. And just the lighting too. And this is one thing I appreciate what they did with the monster. They didn't show their full body shot until the end. And thank God, because that full body shot looked fucking ridiculous.
But isn't the scene where she finds him, which I think was like sort of added later, like originally Ripley was supposed to escape and the aliens already dealt with? When she finds it aboard the ship and she's like coming up with her plan and she's putting the suit on so she can launch it out the airlock, isn't that like so fucking tense?
Yes.
So fucking like nerve-wracking as you're watching this thing sleep. It's like it's a little like you can maybe try to poke holes in it, like why doesn't Noah sit out? To me it just felt like it just had a big meal.
Yeah.
Like it's lethargic. Like just about every animal gets lethargic after
Right.
they eat a meal.
My favorite shot in the movie was when the aliens first kill with our friend, the cat guy.
With Brett.
With Brett. Just when the alien kind of just slinks down behind him and it's in complete shadow. And all you can see is his head. And then when it pops his head up, you can kind of see like a human skull inside of it. Oh my God. Just like shivers down your spine. Like, it's amazing.
I don't know if we've talked much about just like we've talked about how the ship set was big and people could get lost in it, but it's also got that very lived in feel. It's got that, it's like half dormitory, half truck,
Yeah.
like kind of energy. It's
You
just
can tell these people have done this before, and that's what sells it.
I don't know. Shall we move along
Yeah.
to let the hate flow through you?
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
I mean, you can nitpick about the dummy, the alien dummy, or the guy in a rubber suit kind of thing, but I don't know.
So I have two things. The room where they talk to Mother, the like computer, kind of looks shitty.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Kind of looks like a 1960s, like the original Star Trek set.
Right.
Because it's just like, this is some walls and some lights on a wall.
Yeah. It's
But-
like, what do these do?
But I also, it's like, I kind of don't like it, but I also like that the design decision to make the like computer command center look like that. It just
Right.
looks a little cheap. And it's a little, also, I really don't like Lambert. All she does is she gets to scream and act real sad. And she's kind of the weak link in the cast and the characters just because they don't let her do much. She's mostly just there to be sad.
You know what we forgot? We forgot the chestburster scene.
That's true. Chestburster scene. So our man gets brought back. He's got the thing on his face. Doesn't he? He wakes up. They have a meal together.
He wakes up and he seems like he's okay.
Yeah. And then he starts.
Convulsing, and then he faints.
Yes, and then IMDb fun fact for you: they didn't know what was gonna happen when the chestburster burst.
Oh my God.
I say it like that because I feel like almost everyone knows that fact.
It's kind of a legend now.
But it pops out. Our little penis monster is what he looks like right now. And he's like, but it splatters all over everyone, and that's why they get the great reaction because they did not know on the set that it was going to splatter everywhere.
That's awesome.
That's a good setup. And then it scurries away. And everybody's just like, well.
I hate spiders and anything that crawls like that. So I was like, ooh, fuck that.
Oh, you know what else I want to say? Is when it's such a weird decision when Ian Holmes, Bilbo Baggins, our android, once he starts like malfunctioning and he's like sweating this milky substance.
Yeah.
And then he's like fucking like fist raping Ripley. Like I don't even know what the fuck was happening. Where he was like shoving his hand in her mouth. Isn't that what was happening?
Yeah, something like that. Oh my god.
And then our man, what's his name? The black guy. Oh, Parker comes in with a bat and just knocks his fucking dome off.
Yeah.
And it's just spouting white liquid, and it's like it's not like you imagine like the inside of a computer when you see it, but it's like no, it's like milky, and there's these little like marbles in there, and it's got all these like stringy like spaghetti strings in there.
So he's like cum shotting while doesn't he talk to while he's like, decapitated?
They wire him up when he's decapitated, and the original mold didn't look right. It was supposed to be like an animatronic, so they end up having Ian Holmes, and they just kept putting milk in his mouth and pouring milk all over him, and he has his head through a hole, and he's having to deliver all these lines, and apparently he hated milk. And it's just this goopy, disgusting mess. And he has, I wish I could remember the actual line, but they have this long discussion where he's like, you're right, my original objective, I don't care about any of y'all. I'm here to take this alien for Weyland Yutani for the Corpo. I've been put aboard this ship at the last minute to do that. Now it's here. You guys are fucked, basically.
So awesome. That whole scene, yeah.
And then Sigourney Weaver's like, and that's enough for me.
We're leaving.
Let's fuck this shit up. So, Hateful Through You. I only had the couple complaints, but they're not real complaints. They're nitpicks. In overall, a great movie.
This is a classic.
So should we move along to our final segment where we will be rating both our movies?
Yeah.
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother! I had a little baby brother! And he was perfect! Perfect in every way!
Is this a perfect movie?
So let's start with Event Horizon. I do not think this is a perfect movie. I see this as kind of not an Alien ripoff, but it's in that little pocket of cinema where it's like, we've watched Alien before, so we're gonna make something similar.
Yeah, I would say Event Horizon is one of those movies that I personally find very beloved, but it's like if I was going to objectively rate it, it's like a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Or something, where it's like it's got a lot of things going for it. It's got a few issues along the way, and it's got a special place in my heart, but I don't think it deserves to be on the perfect movie list.
I mean, it's got the coolest plot. I just love the whole we entered into a different dimension and we don't know what the fuck is going on kind of thing.
Oh, I love the where we're going. We won't need eyes to see.
Oh my God. What happened to your eyes?
Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see.
The man says with no eyes in his in his eye sockets. Ugh.
That shit is fucking eerie. But yeah, it's a great movie, and I recommend it to anybody who loves the genre of sci-fi or sci-fi horror.
Or even just horror. Like if you're willing to do like sort of a psychological horror.
Yeah.
I think it's effective in a lot of those ways.
I'm surprised this hasn't been remade.
Don't speak it into existence, because it'll happen.
I'm sure, but I feel like put in the right hands, it could be done well. Just think of like with today's effects, if it's done with love and care for the original, I think it could be
it could be
pretty
done
good.
better. You can run with the same premise and do different scares and have different like twist on it, and it's still, it's Event Horizon rebooted or whatever.
Right. This is one of those few movies where I'd say I would like to see a remake or be interested to see one.
You know what's actually an Event Horizon remake that fucking is ass?
Which one?
Cloverfield Paradox. Did you ever watch that?
No, I didn't watch that.
It's literally Event Horizon, but it's PG-13 and really stupid.
You know what other movie just recently came out that directly aped off of Alien? It was with Ryan Reynolds. It was called Life.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
It's literally the same plot as Alien.
Isn't it like an amoeba thing gets
Yeah.
on board and starts infecting everyone and
Yes.
fucking shit up?
And then there's another movie that's set underwater this time. Oh my
What?
god! It's with whoever I think the Twilight bitch.
Yes.
It's called Underwater, and it's about basically the same plot as Alien.
Wait,
but
isn't
they're
that
underwater.
what's it called? The Abyss? Isn't that an alien thing that gets on there? I don't know. I don't know if it
I
ruins.
think the
anyone.
Abyss is kind of like we found some type of creature we don't know.
It's
what this is.
it's iRobot. You know what else is a remake of Alien? Cars 2. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't remember that one.
You know what else is a remake of Alien? The Simpsons movie. But anyways, is Alien a perfect movie?
Hi, Cat.
Kitty says no, but I say
Yes.
let's
Yes.
put it on there. I think it deserves it.
Alien. It has stood the test of time. It's an amazing achievement in visual storytelling.
And one thing I will say about it is you do have to come in, I think, with a certain expectation, because I mean this already hits me in like this is my soft spot, like this old school sci-fi. Like this is literally following up the original Star Wars. Like it's got a lot of things that are already going to interest me, and you just got to know that this was not made for modern sensibilities, and that it's going to be it's going to unwind slowly for you.
Yes, if you've already seen Alien Covenant and Prometheus, and Prometheus is basically the same plot as this. But if you've already seen AVP and all this shit, you're probably going to be bored, or maybe you'll like it. I don't know. You know what movie is also kind of a ripoff, but I think is more effective than Alien? The Thing, John Carpenter. Have you seen The Thing?
No. Which I should.
You haven't seen? Oh my god.
I think I've seen it, maybe, but it's one of those things where I might have watched it as a teenager and I didn't.
It is a masterpiece in practical effects.
You know
It's
what?
amazing.
What has the thing in it? Halloween Ends.
The Shape? That's what they call him.
What?
They call Michael Myers the Shape in those movies.
No, I mean literally at the beginning before things go left. They're at the sleepover or when the babysitter's there. They're watching The Thing, and he's like, "We should turn it off."
I do remember this, yes.
So that's our preview. Because guess what, guys? So Alien's a perfect movie. Stamp it.
Stamp it, mail it.
So here's the thing. We might have bit off a little more than we can chew with this October Halloween series. All these double features. Life is coming at us fast. So we're going to have to knock out a week. Conjuring and Hereditary, we're sorry. Maybe next year.
We might save that for another time.
Yeah, I'm sure we can come back to those movies. But our final Halloween episode uploading probably next week. Or definitely before Halloween. Probably the weekend before Halloween. We'll do Halloween and Halloween
Ends.
Well, Halloween and Halloween and Halloween Ends, right?
We're doing 3?
Well, I just mean like I guess you've already seen them. I'm gonna be watching
Okay.
them. But like Halloween, the original Halloween, Halloween Ends, which is the newest Halloween movie, and
I guess
I'll be
we can
watching
kind of group together Halloween Ends with all the recent.
all the David Gordon Green Halloween movies.
Which I kind of love. So we'll.
I think that'll
we'll
be
see.
a good episode because it's new Halloween. Everybody hates it, but I thought it was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
In a bad way. In a bad but good way.
If you haven't seen Alien, if you haven't seen Event Horizon, please go watch them. If you have any interest in the genre, I think you'll very much enjoy these two. Event Horizon, not a perfect movie. Doesn't mean it's not a good movie. Go watch it. Alien, perfect movie. Go watch it. It's a classic.
I'm going to add it to the list. So we have, our list is Star Wars Episode 5, Napoleon Dynamite, The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and Alien.
An Alien. I think 3 of 4 of those, or 1 of 4 of those will be somebody will hate us for that. But
Napoleon Dynamite's amazing.
yeah, if you
Napoleon
don't like
Dynamite might be
Napoleon
my
Dynamite-
favorite of all these movies.
Okay, calm down. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around. But yeah, guys, look forward to that last our Halloween finale. Should be a fun one. Thanks for joining.
You know what else is a remake of Alien? Ratatouille.
Oh yeah, because the
rat puppets the man,
yes,
just like the alien takes the thing, and then the instead of bursting out of his chest, he makes a ratatouille.
and the rats have their own like civilization, and they're coming into human worlds and be like, we can cook too,
And
bitch.
they scurry around real fast like aliens.
We should. Ratatouille is a good fucking film.
Dude, you know what I've been watching recently? Zootopia slaps. Have you ever seen
It
Zootopia?
it does slap, dude. The animation is crazy in that one.
And it's just a great, well-acted film and with a good message.
Did you see remember the scene where all the animals are like naked?
Isn't that the whole movie?
No, because they're wearing clothes.
Oh.
But the scene where they go into that little spa or
Oh
whatever,
yeah, with the guy played by Tommy Chong.
the elephant is doing some yoga pose and he's just fully spread. And,
And Tommy Chong's character is like, this elephant's got a great memory, man. And then Tommy Chong just remembers everything. He's like, remember when this guy came by, man? Yeah, totally. 3 times last week, man. Put Tommy Chong in more movies. Tommy Chong is in Color Out of Space with Nick Cage, and he plays the squatter.
I still have not seen that.
You should watch
keep
that
telling
movie.
me to watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
You should watch the movie just because Nick Cage gets to choose Siri, and Tommy Chong gets to play a homeless man that squats on the land.
I kind of feel bad that we're not doing Conjuring and Hereditary.
I mean, I don't know. Are we going to hash this out right now?
No, but I'm just saying, like, I don't really want to watch 2 movies because I always end up watching them back to back, and that's what fucks me up the most.
Yeah, that's not a good. I try to watch one, and then maybe I'll watch one in the evening and watch one in the morning.
This
or
is too
something.
much depressing shit for my mind. I'm starting to feel violent thoughts, Michael.
Oh my
I'm
God.
thinking about going home and eating a burger violently.
Call the police.
Called a ho.
I mean, I don't know. We could. It's more. I don't have a problem doing it.
I think we
Should we each watch one and then we come back?
and just kind of like our own opinions on one.
Yeah.
I've seen Conjuring.
Yeah, I've seen The Conjuring too.
Okay, so should we just do Hereditary then? Because I have not seen Hereditary.
Should we just do Hereditary?
Let's do Hereditary.
Then we got to figure out when
Yeah.
we'll
I mean,
record
we have
it.
a whole weekend, so fuck it.
Okay. Well, I guess we shall see what happens this Halloween.
And we're gonna watch more Mopey Whites.
Is it gonna be a trick or a treat? No.
Spooky. All right, I think we dragged this on long enough.
You know what else is an Alien remake? Happy Feet.
Oh, because the penguins are acting like humans, and they are dancing, and they're gonna take over the world.
You know what else is an Alien remake? Home Alone 2. Is
You know what else is an Alien remake? Shrek.
you know what?
Because Shrek is green.
Just like the alien in Alien.
I don't. Is it green?
No, it's not. All right, that was a failure of a couple jokes, but everybody have a great rest of until next time. You know.
Laters.
Adios.